You know, as a leader, your biggest strength might actually be your team's biggest blind spot. In the next few minutes, we're going to unpack a simple tool to fix that. A tool that'll unlock real innovation just by challenging everything you think you know.
I want you to really think about this for a second. We live in a world that rewards expertise, right? Quick answers. But what if the most valuable person in the room isn't the one with all the answers? What if it's the one who has the guts to ask the question everyone else thinks is just too simple?
Okay, let's dive right in. First things first, we gotta really get our heads around the problem. That deep expertise you hired your team for? Yeah, that can actually become the biggest wall standing between you and a real breakthrough. Crazy, right?
Let me tell you a quick story. Just picture it, a legendary sneaker company. I mean, their labs are packed with PhDs, and they're all laser-focused on one single thing, creating the absolute plushest, most shock-absorbent shoe you can possibly imagine. They are the undisputed kings of cushioning.
Yeah, but there was a massive problem. They were losing, and losing badly. A whole new wave of minimalist shoes was just crushing them in the market. So what gives? Well, it's because while they were so busy perfecting the answer, they'd completely lost sight of the question. Their own expertise was basically steering them right off a cliff. So what was really going on? Well, they were trapped. Trapped by what we call unquestioned assumptions. These are the invisible truths of your industry. You know, the stuff that's so obvious, nobody even bothers to say it out loud. And these things, they're like invisible walls, just boxing in your team's thinking without anyone even realizing it.
So the big question is, how do you break down those invisible walls? Well, you need a very specific tool for the job. I want you to think of it like a surgeon's scalpel, something designed to precisely cut away the dogma that's holding your whole company back.
And listen, this is a really critical mindset shift. That naive question, it's not dumb. Far from it. It is a strategic weapon. It's the one tool that lets you just cut through decades of baggage and complexity and get right back to the core, to the first principles of any problem.
Okay, so this matrix here, it's a super powerful way to see where your team is actually at. All right, look at the top left. That's the technician. They accept all the assumptions and just ask how. Their job is to make the current system better. Then top right, you've got the frustrated idealist. They ask why, but they're still stuck in the old assumptions, so nothing really changes. Down in the bottom left, the tinker. They're challenging assumptions, which is good, but they're still only asking how. The magic, the real breakthrough happens in the bottom right. That's the innovator. This is the person who challenges those core assumptions by asking that big, powerful, naive why.
So for us as leaders, this is really the whole ballgame. The question you have to ask yourself is this: am I building a team of technicians who are awesome at just optimizing the machine we already have? Or am I creating a culture of innovators who have the guts to ask if we should be building a totally different machine?
And believe me, this isn't just some abstract theory. The greatest minds do this all the time. Take neuroscientist V.S. Ramachandran. He completely changed how we understand phantom limbs just by asking a question that was so basic, so naive, that other doctors were just writing their patients off.
Or how about linguist Daniel Everett? He turned decades of established theory from giants like Noam Chomsky completely on its head. How? He found a tribe whose language didn't follow the so-called universal rules. He just had the courage to ask, hey, what if all our base assumptions are just wrong?
And one more for you. Robotics pioneer Yoki Matsuoka. She won a MacArthur Genius Grant. And you know what she did? She threw out all the standard models for building robotic hands. She asked this brilliant, naive question: why are we trying to adapt these flawed, complex models instead of just starting from the incredible mechanics of the human hand itself? It just shows the power of starting from scratch.
Okay, so that's the framework. Now we get to the most important part. How do you actually take this and build it into your leadership playbook? How do you put it to work with your team, like right now?
So let's jump back to our struggling sneaker company. A consultant walks in, listens to all this complex talk about foam composites and energy return, and then asks the one question that's been hiding in plain sight for 50 years. They just look around and ask, why does a running shoe even need cushioning at all? And you can just imagine the whole room goes dead silent.
And boom, that one single naive question changed absolutely everything. They found out that their super high-tech cushioned shoes were actually making people run unnaturally. They were creating the exact impact forces they were supposed to prevent. The shoe wasn't the solution. The shoe was the problem. And realizing that, that's what saved the entire company.
So what's the takeaway for you as a leader? Okay, here are 4 things you can do. Number 1, you need to stop being the chief answer provider and become the chief questioner. 2,
When someone asks a dumb question, reward it publicly. Celebrate that person. 3. Flip your expertise hierarchy upside down. In your next big meeting, have the newest person on the team speak first. Their fresh eyes are your most valuable asset. And 4. Actually schedule time to rederive your business model from scratch.
Okay, so that's the high-level strategy, but I want to leave you with your Monday morning action. A single, super concrete exercise you can run with your team literally this week. It's called the 5 Whys exercise. It is so simple and it is brutally effective. Here's how it works. You start with a core assumption your team has, something like, our customers want more features. Then you ask, why is that true? And to whatever answer they give, you just ask why again. You repeat that until you've asked why 5 times. Trust me, you are going to be shocked when you uncover the real, often kind of flawed, belief you're all actually running on.
And that brings us right to the final question, the one I'm going to leave you with. Look, every single company, every team has these sacred cows, beliefs that are just off limits. They're beyond question. Your job as a leader is to be the one who finds them. So, what's it going to be? What's the one sacred cow in your company that you're going to challenge first?